Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, we covered the complete OSI model in depth. In today's video, we are going to cover the TCP IP protocol suite. I highly recommend you to watch my previous video that where I explained everything about the OSI. The reason is, if you understand the OSI, it will be much easier for you to understand the TCP IP protocol suite. And also, make sure that watch the video till the end. If you are really curious about the history of the TCP IP protocol suite before you watch this video, I recommend check the first video in my computer network playlist where I explain everything about the history of network. Okay, now let's understand what is TCP protocol suite is. If you look at the definition, TCP IP is a collection of communication protocols that allows devices to connect, exchange the data over the internet. You may have a question here. What is protocol? What does it mean? A protocol is a set of rules and standards, right? So when you request something, this protocol ensures that your request follows the rules and reaches the correct application. That's why we call them as a protocols. So TCP IP is a collection of communication protocols that make possible for application to communicate and also allows device to connect, exchange the data over the internet by using different protocols. Okay, you may have a question. We already have the OSI model where we cover all the layers. Why do we need the TCP IP protocol suite? The reason is the OSI model is a theoretical framework, while the TCP IP model is a one we actually use in the real world because it contains all the working protocols. Okay, we'll talk more about the difference between the TCP IP protocol suite and the OSI layer. First now, let's look at the layers of the TCP IP protocol suite, understand the functions of each layer. Before jumping into these functions of the TCP IP protocol suite, I just want to inform you that I won't go in detail in each layer because since I already explained everything about in the OSI model. Okay, so let's go through each layer one by one. Then we'll start with application layer. What is application layer? This is the topmost layer of the TCP IP protocol suite. If you remember in the OSI model, we had three layers at the top. What are they? Application, presentation and session. But in the TCP IP model, all these three layers functions are merged into single application layer. So everything that user interact with like a web browsing, sending an email, transferring files or doing a remote login, all this happen at application layer. So this layer is close to the users. This is the layer where you can send the request and also receive response. And also some of the important protocols in this layer. What are they? DNS, HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, SSH and Telnet. So this is all about the application layer. Okay, move to the next layer, that is very important layer, that is transport layer. What is transport layer? So once the data move to the transport layer, it's directly mapped to the transport layer in the OSI model, whatever we explained in the OSI. Okay, so it applies here as well. So to quickly recap that, transport layer is the main job to end-to-end communication between application and two devices. What we do here? So once we receive the data from the application layer, we will break the data into smaller chunks. The small chunks we call as segments. Each segment we assign a sequence number. The reason is when the receiver gets the segments, it reassembles them in the correct order using those numbers. Okay, so this layer is also responsible for flow control and congestion control. Okay, so if you want to more about these functions like flow control and congestion control, please watch my OSI video where I explain everything about flow control and congestion control. Okay, and in this layer we use two important protocols. What are they? The first one is TCP. TCP is a reliable and connection oriented. And the second one is UDP, that is fast and connectionless. We will discuss this protocol in the detailed future video. Okay, so this is all about the transport layer. The next layer we have, that is internet layer. What internet layer? Okay, So which is equal to the network layer in the OSI model. So whatever the functions which we have seen in the network layer in the OSI model, here it's also applies. So this layer is responsible for addressing and routing. So what it will do, as soon as they receive the data from the transport layer, it adds the logical IP address, okay, and find the best path, send the packets from source to the destination, okay. It is also ensure that your data can travel across multiple networks, not a single network, across multiple networks and still reach the correct target. So this is all about the internet layer. In this layer, we use very important protocols, that is IP, ICMP and ARP. Okay. Then move to the next layer and final layer in the TCP IP protocol suite, that is network access layer. So in OSI terms, this is basically combination of data link layer and physical layer. So these layers defines how the data is actually transmitted over a physical network through the cables or Wi-Fi signals or fiber optics. Okay, so this layer is all about the physical connectivity between two devices. Okay, so as of now, we have covered all the layers in the TCP IP protocol suite. Okay, now we are going to understand the difference between the OSI model and TCP IP protocol suite. A lot of people get confused between the OSI and TCP IP protocol suite. Here we will break down each point, the difference between OSI and TCP IP protocol suite. Okay, we will start with the first one. The first one is number of layers. We all know that the OSI model has 7 layers: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link layer and physical layer. In TCP IP model, we have only 4 layers, that is application layer, transport, internet and network access. Okay, here the top 3 layers of the OSI model, application, presentation, session, are combined into single application layer in the TCP IP. So we combine the functions, all these layers, all these 3 layers into single application, that is application layer. At the bottom, the 2 OSI layers like data link layer and physical layer, they are combined into single network access layer. So OSI has 7 layers, TCP IP has 4 layers. That is the major difference between the OSI and TCP IP protocol suite. The next one is development. Who developed OSI and who developed TCP IP? The OSI model was developed by the International Organization for Standardization. Okay, so it was designed to help to understand how communication happened between the 2 systems. Okay, TCP IP on the other hand, it was developed by the US Department of Defense to build a robust and practical network. Okay, so whatever we see happening on the internet because of the TCP IP protocol suite. Okay, the third one is usage. Where do we use OSI and where do we use TCP IP? The OSI model is mainly used for teaching, learning and understand the concept of networking. Since each of its 7 layers has a specific function, it makes easy to study and visualize how computer network works. Let's imagine if you are requesting something from source to the destination. So if you have the OSI model in your mind, you can easily understand and you can easily visualize the how computer works across the layers. Okay, but TCP IP, however, is the real world model. It contains all the working protocols like TCP, UDP, DNS and many more. Okay, this is the model we use every day to communicate over the internet and access the different services and application. So whatever you do in your laptop, it's need a protocol which is comes under TCP IP protocol suite. So this is all about the uses of the OSI and TCP IP protocol suite. The last one is the difference protocol dependency. The OSI model is a protocol independent. It doesn't tell you which protocol to use. It only defines the what function should happen at each layer. Okay. At TCP IP, however, it is a protocol specific. It's clearly defined the protocol used at each layer. Each protocol has a different purpose. Okay. So each protocol follows the set of standards and rules. Many of them are associated with the well-known port numbers. Let's imagine if you are trying to access any website, it will take HTTP protocol with port number 80, right? So these are the major difference between the OSI model and TCP IP protocol suite. So you may have a question, is this all about the TCP IP protocol suite? Actually no. In this video, we just introduced what is TCP IP protocol suite is and how it differs from the OSI model. As we discussed, the TCP IP protocol suite contains very important protocols that makes communication possible. So these are the protocols we should learn in detail. If you want to become a cybersecurity engineer, understanding the protocols is very important. So what I will do in the upcoming classes, I will take each protocol one by one and explain in depth. So please make sure that watch all the upcoming videos, because if you want to become a cybersecurity professional, understanding each protocol in depth very important. So this is all for today's video. In the next video, we'll start with very interesting protocol. Until then, take care. Bye bye.